GameRanks presents another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our thoughts on the latest games releasing. As usual, I'm your guy, Jake Baldino, and once again, I got to apologize. I'm sleep deprived and extremely sick, but that is not going to stop me from talking about Nier Automata. It's the sequel to 2010's PS3 360 game Nier, which itself was a spin-off of Drakengard. I haven't played the previous games, but I didn't really feel like I was missing anything at all going into this one, so that was nice. Nier Automata is set up in the distant future where humankind was driven out of Earth by robots and machines. They took over the Earth and mankind was stuck living out on the moon. Eventually, they developed these human-like badass androids to pilot down to Earth from space stations to go and wage war for humankind and win back Earth. That's where you come in, as a combat android simply named 2B. This game was made by Platinum, and I gotta say, I think Platinum is back, baby. After a few misses, this stuff is like totally Bayonetta 2 caliber. Nier is out for PS4 and it's releasing soon for PC, and I think it's going to be a big damn shame if people miss out on this amidst all the other things releasing right now, because this is a good game. This is a semi-open world action RPG that has a surprising amount of variety that I will get to, but once you get through a pretty freaking dazzling intro, you're dropped into the main environment. You traverse around these open environments that aren't overwhelmingly big, but are still nicely sized. They got plenty of nooks and crannies to explore and reward with finding little items and stuff. The game is comprised of main quests, side quests, and an outpost with NPCs that deal out shop items and info in a typical JRPG kind of fashion. The main name of the game here, besides exploration though, is the real-time combat. It feels like a mix between Bayonetta and the newer Devil May Cry, with both heavy and light attacks chained together as well as managing well-timed dodges to counter back. It's all really fast-paced and thrilling enough, but the added element of having a bot at your side with abilities that it can access and use with one of the trigger buttons, but it also has a very important ranged machine gun attack. It's weak, but it can keep enemies at bay, and it's controlled with camera and lock-on. It feels a lot like the infinite ammo pistols of old Devil May Cry games. You know, not the most powerful, but perfect for biding your time with an enemy. It gets way more advanced as many enemies shoot projectiles back at you, which you can dispatch with shooting your bot, or by dodging, and navigating through all of this kind of feels like a classic bullet hell game. The game takes that 10 steps further, though, when it seamlessly transitions to top-down and 2D platforming style segments in which you have full control of combat and shooting stuff with your bot. These random perspective shifts here and there really do a good job at shaking things up and manage to keep things really exciting and fresh. It's honestly downright pretty awesome, but thankfully it's also a serious bit of challenging fun. When this game is showing off all its tricks, which it does manage to consistently do throughout, you're probably going to be impressed. The game even takes this variation further by giving you combat flight segments sparsely throughout the game, which truly take you to an old school feeling shmup bullet hell style game. But in regular on the ground combat, there's some light RPG elements. You have to improve yourself. To improve yourself, you buy weapons and upgrades for them, as well as upgrading your actual android self. The chip upgrade augmentation system works pretty smoothly and smartly enough. You're given a set amount of memory space to add chips to give you upgrades and buffs, and even some HUD features. You can lose these chips upon dying, however, similar to how Souls work in a Dark Souls game. It's not as overwhelming, but it does give the game an added challenge next to on-the-fly selectable difficulty modes that it also has. This is all good because Nier is a lengthy game. Like I said, the world isn't absolutely huge, but there is a lot to do in it. Not to mention, when you finish the game, you don't really finish it. There's actually 5 more endings to achieve. Yeah, and I will say it's not the best looking game, but it has its own strong sense of style, and the game runs smoothly even as things get pretty crazy. At the time of sharing and showing your support. We freaking love you guys for that. And if you are new, I think I need to tell you that subscribing is a good idea because we put out stuff like this all the time. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
An android?
No, this is a machine.